So I know from personal experience, right? The motivation for me to start making videos.
Money!
No, it was never money.
Right.
And that's certainly not the motivation for doing this podcast. We're about minus 35,000. We're in the red.
Easy.
But anyway, what I was going to say is that it started as a hobby, right? And then I would share it with friends and families for a laugh. And then you get like a little small cult audience. So the motivation for me was I want to do something creative because I've always been like a creative kid. Never really had the outlet. I like making videos. I like trying to learn how to do it better than I currently do it. I like sharing it with people, and the people that are there to watch it enjoy it, right? And that's gratifying, right? Of course, like as you go down the line and it becomes a full-time job, then money becomes a factor, but it shouldn't be the defining factor, right?
Yeah.
Not to sound like a hippie, but the whole point is that you start this because you love doing it, right? And so you keep putting more in, you want to entertain your audience. And I think I always wonder now with kids starting out, they think, I want to be a YouTuber, right? Why do they want to be that? Because I never wanted to be a YouTuber, right? That was never like, I didn't wake up one morning and think, I want to be a YouTuber, right? So I think like, is the motivation just to be a well-known YouTube person? And so do they then think, right, okay, how's the quickest way I can get to this level by doing the most extreme things? So I think there are two different types of YouTube person, right? It's different to somebody who has a passion for something and does videos around that, to somebody that just wants to do the most dramatic, most, the hypesters, I think.
Do you think it's weird? Like, because obviously I guess most people that are going into it, the payoff is going to be the clout. We should call this the clout episode. Did
you see that? Just to interject, sorry, mate.
Yeah, thanks for.
No, but do I remember?
Like a passionate.
No, you can continue you can continue the passionate ramblings in a second, right? What I was going to say is, did you see the tweet? Because it's an interesting talking point about guy had done a TikTok video with 34 million views. I'm pretty sure I sent it in the chat.
Oh yeah, you did, yeah.
And he had done a grand total of 230 quid from it.
For 34
million views. So I don't know why I was going to get onto that, but because you were talking about clout, that immediately made me think TikTok.
Yeah. So what I was going to say is like, so that as a fair example, one of the payoffs, or like one of the things that people think that they want is notoriety, right? So they want to be recognised. They think that's what they want.
Do you think is that?
I think so. I think
you're probably right.
I think people. George, what do you reckon? Like people that start
Some
YouTube.
People, I don't think everybody.
They want that celebrity.
Yeah.
They want to walk down the street and be recognised. And
the people on X Factor that go on and they used to interview them and be like, what does this mean to you? Oh, it means everything. Like, what means everything? Oh, to be famous. Oh, not to record an album and perform shows.
Yeah.
You just want to be famous, right?
But that's kind of like one of the worst parts of it.
Yeah,
like,
who the fuck wants to be famous, man?
Because you know what it's like getting stopped.
No, steady. But yeah, no, I like getting, I like people that like the videos coming over and saying, I like the videos, and having a little chat with them. Because to me, otherwise it's just numbers, right? So it's nice to be able to put a face to them.
Yeah.
But I would hate to be like somebody legitimately, who's somebody really famous.
You can still go out and not get recognised and hounded like loads.
I don't know, man. We've been
You might get stopped a couple of times, but it's not like a mob forming around you.
Yeah, I'd hate to be like, who's somebody really famous? Tell me the most famous person on planet Earth right now.
Ronaldo? Messi?
Yeah, that must be rough. I mean, and I think people say, well, yeah, but it's all right because they're getting paid loads of money. But it must be hard in a way to not be able to go out and so like I get that, but I can't imagine why you would want to be famous. Famous like the byproduct of you providing something to humanity, right? So like Einstein's famous because he gave us the theory of relativity, right? Bob Dylan's famous because he gave us, the times they were changing, fucking, I don't know, Harper Lee's famous because she gave us To Kill a Mockingbird, right? That's why they're famous. Why would you want to be famous for fame's sake? I don't get it, because there's nothing that you get for it other than like people say, oh, that's that guy, or that's that girl. Is that just me, or?
No, I'm definitely with you. I think that's one of the negatives. My point was that a lot of people think that's what they want, but then I think when you get it, or if you start getting recognised, it's kind of weird.
Oh, right, okay. Yeah, I mean, like, I don't know. I don't really know what to...
It's almost like a side effect of having something successful.
Yeah, because like you literally just said like, oh, I enjoy making the videos, I enjoy putting something out there. Yeah, it's nice to meet a couple of people, but you get hounded. So, like sometimes.
No, I don't get hounded. But the only time that like I feel a bit, I only feel odd because I wonder why people like want. See, if people ask me for a picture, I've got a bit of a. People used to say at work when I had a real job that I've got resting bitch face. I think it just means you look grumpy all the time. I'm not, right? So like, if you ever see me on the street, unless maybe I'm at a fucking funeral or something, I'll always make time for anyone that comes up and say. I've seen loads of people, like over the years, try to get pictures with other famous people who've been like, no, I'm too busy, whatever. Like, if that's me, you have permission to punch me in the face, right? Because like, I'll always make time for people who watch my videos, right? Yeah. I mean that genuinely. But to me, I find it, I think in a way a bit odd because I think, like, why do you want a picture with me? I'm just an average fella, you know? But I suppose that just comes down to like your personality. I'd be like that with, say if I'm walking down, do you ever see that Roy Keane interview where he's with Gary Neville walking through the woods? And he's like, if I saw Bob Dylan walking down the streets, I'd probably say, this is a second Bob Dylan reference in the last 5 minutes. If I saw Bob Dylan walking through the woods, I'd probably say, you're right, Bob, like your music, and keep walking. And I think that's kind of like me. Like I'm not really a big photo taker though, so maybe it's that. But I don't, it's nice when people come over and say, hello, I love your videos. But I don't like the idea of fame. I find it quite awkward. I remember when I was at the lounge at Heathrow, you ever been to that? It's like a cafeteria almost, like a big open area with these big long tables.
No.
And some guy came over, he said, I was fucked as well. It's on the way home. I'd had like no sleep and I'm trying to wait to connect back up to Manchester. He's like, can I get a picture, mate? I'm like, yeah, of course, mate. I stink. Like my beard's all over the place, but let's do it. Take a picture with them. And naturally, because it's so open, I could just see everyone looking at me and I'm like, oh, man, this is a bit weird. Like, I don't want to make eye contact with people. So I find it a bit strange, but not unpleasant.
You know what I think is funny about like this like celebrity world is, I guess before you meet people of notoriety, I just kind of assumed that this is going to sound stupid. I kind of assumed
it can't sound more stupid than anything else that's gone before.
They're going to live like in like their own little sort of compounds, you know, like away from like general members of the public.
Yeah.
And they'll go to like their different shopping centres, you know, like they'll go to like different shops to get the food. And then I've been to so many people of like celebrities' homes and I'm just like, oh, you just live in like a regular. Paul Smith, he lives in like a regular, like he lives on an estate like mine, and it blew my mind. I'm like,
because I think
this is weird. Like he's like super famous, doing UK in the UK at least. In Liverpool, he's fucking mega famous, doing tours all up and out the UK. I just assumed he'd be like living in a fortress with like, you know, 9-foot walls, just so that like people can't just come and chap on his door. And he doesn't. He lives in a regular place.
I think that comes down to like who you are. If you are just a regular person and you're not like madly egotistical and invest in your own self-importance, you probably just do want to be an average person who lives in an average place. But that
terrifies, like for me, that like, because if somebody clocks him going home, somebody clocks you going home. Ant Middleton, I went to Ant Middleton's house. SAS, I thought, this fucker, if somebody's going to have a 9-foot wall with like a watchtower and some dogs around the perimeter, Ant Middleton, I went to his house and it's just like open driveway. I'm like, hey, is that it? Like I've proper assumed it'd be like helicopter circling.